Hello, and thank you for joining this session today. I'm here to celebrate the power of community among women and to give you some ideas about how to make it work for you. My name is Hannah Wolf, Senior Director of Digital Operations at Ubisoft San Francisco. Ubisoft is a leading video game publisher. If you've played Just Dance or Rayman or Assassin's Creed, then you know us. We are an international company with more than 55 studio and business offices around the world, and diversity is a critical component of our culture and values. My own background is in IT project management with enterprise business systems, so I know well the feeling of being one of the few women, or the only woman, in the room. I joined Ubisoft as an IT project manager working on customer management and finance systems, knowing absolutely nothing about the video game industry and not thinking of it as tech particularly. I realized fairly quickly that the gaming industry is absolutely about tech. Game development is a complex marriage of software development and storytelling, and running large-scale gaming platforms requires significant tech infrastructure. There is a need for all kinds of technical talent in this industry. I eventually moved into a business role on the sales and distribution side, and am still using my IT project manager skill set after 17 years to work on digital distribution of our games, e-commerce, and data governance initiatives. Yep, all the really sexy stuff. Employee resource groups are voluntary, employee-led groups whose aim is to foster a diverse, inclusive workplace aligned with the organizations they serve. They are usually led and participated in by employees who share a characteristic, whether it's gender, ethnicity, or another interest. The groups exist to provide support and help in personal or career development and to create a safe space where employees can bring their whole selves to the table. Allies may also be invited to join an ERG to support their colleagues. There's a lot of research and writing about why ERGs are important, and the key themes are consistent: engagement, inclusion and retention, fostering community, leadership and professional development, and last but not least, business strategy alignment and innovation. Several years into my tenure at Ubisoft, I was invited to join forces with a group of senior women who wanted to create more opportunity for women to advance within the organization. It was clear we needed to build a platform and program for women to progress. We chose the name Women's Leadership Forum to reflect that focus. We advocate with HR and company leaders to promote the development, recognition, and retention of women leaders. We started small, finding the time for this work outside our regular responsibilities and scheduling meetings and events over the lunch hour or at the end of the day. We decided to leverage our own networks and our own skills to create an employee-led group. Our goal is to provide a safe, supportive environment focused on professional development. Building community, networking, and mentorship are in the DNA of our group. I want to stop here for a moment and highlight a very important aspect of getting started. It was a completely organic growth process. We leveraged the informal networks that we all have, and it only took one catalyst to get us started. She talked to 4 or 5 other women who then reached out to their contacts, and a community was born. We were fortunate that our catalyst was in the HR team, and we had some corporate support. That said, though, we were intentional about growing and managing the group as a grassroots effort. 8 years later, we have more than 100 members across North America, and we are building bridges with newer Ubisoft women's groups around the world. First and foremost, build your community. The pandemic and remote work have made it much more challenging to network. But chances are you know 2 or 3 women with whom you've shared a quiet eye roll or a side chat in a meeting when someone talked over you or mansplained to you. Talk to them. You will likely find a great deal of interest in connecting with other women and learning from them. For a few years, my group was really focused on community building and internal networking, which is key to building trust for mentoring. I want to emphasize how important it was for us to start there and to take that time to build trust. It also gave us a way to get started without a budget or a big time commitment. To give you a couple of examples of some of our early programming on a minimal budget, one of our members designed a networking training with 3 to 5 minute practice rounds of speed networking. It was fun, practical, and effective, and required very little beyond name tags and paper for note-taking. We also organized in-house speaker panels for senior women to share their stories and their insights about growing a career within our company. From there, we have since broadened our scope to include mentoring and advocacy with HR for women-friendly policies, like better nursing rooms for new mothers. Be clear on your goals. Are you focused on professional development, building community, advocacy for better corporate policies to support women in the workplace, all of the above? Then, be clear on inclusiveness. For example, are you explicit in welcoming queer and trans women? How do you want to include allies in your group? For our group, it has always been very important to keep a safe, women-only space for many of our discussions and activities, though we have invited male allies to join some as well. Next, define expectations for meetings, communications, and so forth. How often does the group want to meet? Who is setting the agenda and leading those meetings? How do members want to communicate with each other? We've found that a dedicated chat channel is a great tool for sustaining our community. We share interesting articles and upcoming events and run member surveys for forward planning. But we also share personal news, parenting tips, and yes, even the occasional recipe. Last but not least, ask for support, advice, advocacy from senior women and other allies to help you build a relationship with your organization. So that's a long answer to a short question. To summarize, build your community. Be clear on your goals. Be clear about inclusiveness, define expectations, and ask for help. As with ERGs, there is a lot of research and writing about why mentorship is important, but the key themes are consistent throughout. Developing skills and confidence, improving employee engagement, fostering collaborative learning, building networks, greater exposure to opportunity, advancing diversity and inclusion. I love this quote. Mentoring is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. Mentors are advisors to you, whereas sponsors are direct advocates for you. Formal mentoring programs are often led by the organization, more highly structured with a larger time commitment and more selective criteria about who is eligible to participate. If you're lucky enough to work for an organization that offers a program like this, by all means, pursue that opportunity. The Women's Leadership Forum chose to pursue informal mentoring at Ubisoft San Francisco as a complement to formal programs, harnessing the great variety of experience within our membership to help lift each other up and to make the opportunity available to as many women as possible. Mentor and mentee pairs define their own goals and time commitment, offering a bit more flexibility. This is especially important for those of us with young children at home. In addition to the informal mentoring program, several of our members have consistently offered their time for drop-in advice. For example, I worked with one woman who had been blocked in her efforts to gain a promotion. We spent some time documenting her accomplishments and discussing effective ways to tell her story, to articulate how her work had benefited her team and the company. It paid off. She got the promotion, shared her story about how this work helped her meet her goal, and inspired others to pursue mentoring opportunities within our group. In our case, we did a survey with the Women's Leadership Forum membership to gauge interest in mentoring, both for mentees and mentors, and the response was very positive. From there, we defined some questions to help clarify goals and motivations for mentors and mentees, and used that feedback to pair people up. Keep in mind that mentors come in all shapes and sizes. Your peers and even your direct reports can be a great source of learning for you. Feedback from our program participants has been powerful. Mentees and mentors alike talk about having a greater sense of connectedness to the organization and expanding their networks. Mentees are excited about getting real-time feedback and insight into career growth, being reassured that they're not alone and that others have faced the same challenges successfully. Mentors enjoy the satisfaction of leveraging their own experience to help someone else meet a goal and giving back to the organization. Defining goals starts with personal reflection. For a mentee, what challenges or opportunities do you want to address with the help of a mentor? For a mentor, what do you want to learn from the experience? We provide a framework for participants to follow based on best practices from a variety of sources. However, the nature of informal mentoring means that the responsibility is with the mentor and mentee pairs to keep the momentum going and be accountable to each other. It's very important for the mentee and mentor to align up front on their expectations around availability. Some pairs meet every other week, some meet once a quarter. It really depends on the individuals. If you're concerned about the time commitment, I encourage you to think of it like any other kind of training or development you might pursue. It's an investment in yourself. We prepare a yearly recap to share with HR and senior leadership to ensure they understand where people are spending their time and what they, and the company, are getting out of it. We look at quantitative and qualitative measurements. How many programs and events did we offer? How many people participated? What was the feedback on the programs? What outcomes do we see as a result of the skills and learnings acquired through our programs? Building community with other women, learning from them, and helping them grow is deeply personal and important for me. I've had some of the most intense and satisfying experiences of my career doing this work, watching women find their voices and their strength, and it just underlines even more for me how powerful we are together. If you take anything away from my presentation today, here are the key points. Build your community, define your goals, and communicate your successes. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you found helpful ideas in what I shared that you can take with you to make an impact on your organization. Just remember, you're not alone. There are a ton of great resources out there. You have friends and colleagues to connect with, and you can reach out to me on LinkedIn.